My name is Ramya. I work in the Visual Studio Code team at Microsoft, and I also own the Go plugin for Visual Studio Code. What we're going to talk about here today is how this plugin came about, its current state, and what the future looks like. So for those of you who don't know what VS Code is, it's a code editor from Microsoft, which is open source. It works across platforms, Mac, Linux, and Windows, and it's free. It's a desktop tool where we try to combine the simplicity of a code editor with what each developer needs for his inner dev loop, which is you code, you build, you debug, you commit, this cycle of yours. If you think about editors and IDEs to be at the two ends of a spectrum, we like to sit in the sweet spot somewhere in the middle so that we can give you the best of both the worlds. We are currently one of the current favorites for developers across the world. We have about more than 1.7 million monthly active users. That is, in the past 28 days, there's 1.7 million of you guys who's used VS Code. Our extension ecosystem is pretty robust. We have over 4,000 extensions. It can range anything from a theme for VS Code to a complete language support like Go or Python or PHP, for that matter. We recently crossed 30K stars, yay, in our repo, so that was a moment of celebration for us. That's our link for VS Code repo. We are pretty transparent about what we do. We are open. You can read our 6-month roadmap on the wiki in the URL there. We release every month. What that means is at the end of every release, we think what we're going to work on the next month, and we put it in an iteration plan, and we publish that out too, so that you know right away what we're going to work on next month. But let's talk about Golang support in VS Code, because let's be honest, most of you are really interested in that part and not the previous part. So the Go support in VS Code is what made it the second most preferred editor by Gophers as per Google's survey that they did in December 2016. Below is a snapshot of our marketplace. It's one of our very few extensions which has 5 stars all the time. There's a running joke in my team where anytime we get a review, we get an email. And the running joke is they think I keep logging into different aliases and keeps logging to stars. Let's make this clear once and for all, I don't. So, moving on. How did this start? So about 2 years ago, April 2015, it was announced that VS Code was in preview, that it's cross-platform, and it's open source. Luke Hoban starts working on the Go support for VS Code. The story goes, he was talking to someone who said, we might not be able to provide Go support in VS Code. And Luke goes, why not? And what he does is he takes these amazing tools that Gophers, like you, have written, like Go Dev, Go Code, the formatting tools, Go Rename. He took all these tools, and then he worked with the VS Code team to make an extension where all of these can be used. It was a time where the extensibility model for languages was also being worked out, so there was a nice back and forth between Luke and the core VS Code team. So let's do a quick demo of what he did. So this is a simple example of a hello world, because I can't write more than that. Let's zoom in. Not that much. So you can do, we talked about Go Dev, right? You can do Go to definition. There are keyboard shortcuts for everything. So it goes to the file, or there's this neat feature of just speaking into the definition, so that you don't lose context. So right there, you see what's the definition of the symbol. The neat thing I want to show here is Luke never had to worry about how to render this. Any extension, any language extension author for VS Code does not have to worry about how to render things in VS Code. That is taken care of by the core VS Code team. You just register completion providers or definition providers, and VS Code will call your code, get what to show, and then it takes care of rendering for you. That's like removing half the headache while developing an extension for an editor. There were 2 advantages of this. One is what I just said. The other is we provide a consistent experience. So no matter if you're Go or Python or PHP, peak to definition would look exactly like that. Moving on. All right. So he did that. And then the same person goes, but we might not be able to give debugging support now. And Luke goes, why not? So at the same time, Delve by Derek Parker, amazing tool, did not have Windows support. So Luke contributed back to Delve, and now you have Windows support for debugging Go, and now you have a proper cross-platform support for Go in VS Code. But Luke was not alone in his quest. We had amazing contributions from the community, like test commands by Dan Mays, you have workspace symbol search, signature help, and a bunch of these which really made the extension the amazing tool that it is today. Oh, that was not supposed to come. I jumped the gun. What happened next? So a couple of months later, Luke left the company to explore other opportunities. So then what happened is came the new girl. Not that new girl, this new girl. So that was a year ago. My manager comes to me and asks, have you heard of Golang? I'm like, no. So Luke has this extension, and he left, and somebody needs to work on it or take care of it right now. Will you do it? I'm like, why not? So if anybody asks you what's the story of Go in VS Code is, it's 2 words, it's why not. Luke said it, I said it. So there I was doing VS Code for the first time, hearing about Golang for the first time, doing open source for the first time. What could go wrong, right? Hopefully not much. So 249 commits later, 5,000 lines of code later. Currently, I think I have a handle on it, and not the mic. Sorry. There you go. So fast forward now, we have a bunch of features that I got to work on. Again, integrating amazing packages that is done by the community. Fateh did Go modify tags. I got to integrate that. A bunch of other features like toggling between your file and your test file, or autocomplete support where a package is not imported, but you can still get autocompletion for that package, and many teeny tiny improvements across the product. The reason I'm showcasing this is not to show what I did. The reason I'm showing this is the top 4 points over there are all reactions to what the community wanted. It's not something that I thought of one fine day waking up. And the reason I'm talking about that is to show how important the community has been to the success of the Go extension. It's your ideas, your discussions, your issues that you have created that has resulted in this product. More amazing community contributions after I joined in. So I got to work with these amazing people and many, many more. The slides are not enough to showcase everyone, but these are some of my favorite features that I got to work on with amazing people like you. Some of them, the last 2 are more recent. The codelinks is the current favorite. Everywhere I go, people love the codelinks. The stubs is also a hot new feature. And again, much more. Like I said, the success of the Go support in VS Code, the credit for it, as much as it is mine or Luke's or the VS Code teams, an equal amount goes to the Gopher community. I could not have done most of the things I did if it were not for you guys that I talked to over GitHub issues or Twitter. Not that much Twitter, mostly GitHub issues. So continue the good work, keep logging issues, talk to me about what you want, and we'll get that support there. What does the future look like? Robots? No, not that much of future. The future is what we call a language server. Now, from what I've told you, you saw that we picked tools that is there in the Gopher community, stitched it all up, and that's what the Go support in VS Code is. A better way of doing this is having what we call a language server. This is one single server that VS Code can talk to whenever it needs things like, hey, give me the definition, give me the autocompletion, give me the hover info. And there's one server running which knows about your code base and keeps giving answers to you. So this is what the Go language server is. SourceGraph has already gotten a head start on this. They have a partial implementation of the protocol, which gives you read-only features. Like I said, go to definition, find all references, but it does not have write features yet. So the future is where Gophers like you help me write a language server protocol so that this does not just help VS Code, but other editors out there as well. So I have links here, which you can go and check it out later when the slides are published. The beautiful thing about language server protocol is when it does get completed, when the language server gets completed, it does not benefit just VS Code, it benefits all other editors out there that support this protocol. So my best case scenario or my dream is one day you will not be choosing editors based on what is the Go support in that editor. The Go support would be constant because the language server is reused in multiple editors. You will be choosing editors just based on the editor's native features or whatever. So that's my dream. Help me get the language server up and running. The links are up there. If you don't want to add on to it and want to start on your own, you can start. The best thing about that is it's written in Go. Because that's one thing I've heard too. I'd like to. It's in Go.